Hey there, wine fans. It's WineShark with you here for another Wine Takes video. This is part 2 of our Wine for the Hard Seltzer Drinker series. We're going to be learning about the styles of wine that might best suit you if you're coming into the world of wine from the hard seltzer or flavored malt beverage world. So, as a quick summary of what we did in part 1, we talked about what flavored malt beverages are, like hard seltzer and hard sodas, things like that. We talked about their qualities: easy drinking, low alcohol, friendly flavors. We talked about 4 specific wines that you might want to start off with to kind of mimic those things. We talked about Moscato d'Asti, Riesling, Chenin Blanc, and Prosecco. But in part 2 here, we're going to expand a little bit more on that. We're going to start getting out of just the regular matching style of flavors. But I do want to address kind of an interesting thing about the wine world. The place we're going to start is we're going to go back to seltzer. But no, not that seltzer. We're going to talk about wine spritzers real quick. Wine spritzers allow you to take bold wines and regular full-bodied wines and give them a light touch, which perfectly kind of parallels what you see in the flavored malt beverage world. Okay? For light wines, the ratio of wine to club soda or seltzer is usually about 3 parts wine to 1 part soda or seltzer. For bolder styles, like say when you spritz up a port, usually you might find the ratio flipped around to be something like 1 part wine to 2 parts soda or even more. Sometimes you'll find a little twist or a squeeze of citrus in most spritzers, but that's kind of where you want to limit it to. What the spritzers are doing is basically just lightening up the wine, lowering the overall alcohol by volume. You know, you're getting a nice, say, 12-ounce drink with very low alcohol content, so it's nice, it's sippable, it's wonderfully refreshing. Resist the urge to church that drink up beyond just the twist. Down that path goes a lot of other wine cocktails, where you can add a lot of different things to wine to make a whole subset of cocktails that involve wine. However, I don't think you want to go that direction if you're trying to learn about wine, because those other flavors tend to dominate and or confuse the thing. And what we're trying to learn here is what wines would fit our natural kind of progression and early entry into the wine world. So after spritzers, let's go down the path to what we call the light end of the wine spectrum in both red, white, and rosé styles. So light body is a wine vocabulary word you'll need to learn real quick. That is basically a term that refers to styles of wine that are lighter on our palate. They don't have heavy or lingering flavors. And if you remember that to ask for light-bodied wines, you're going to find those are easier to approach and are probably more parallel to the beverages that you're used to. So examples that we already used, for instance, were all white wines. That's the Moscato, the Riesling, the Chenin Blanc, and the Prosecco. Those are all white wines on the lighter end of the scale already. Some additional white wines that are on that light side. Try and expand on more of the world of Riesling. In other words, go outside of the semi-sweet world, right, or the Spätlese or Auslese styles in Germany. Try into the dry side of things and even into the dessert side of things. Riesling can go anywhere across the spectrum from completely unsweet to all the way full sweet. You might also want to check out Pinot Gris, Albarino, and Viognier as early examples of getting out into the regular wine world, where you can start experimenting with more acidity, more crispness, and still have that nice light body. For rosé, this is a really broad category. A lot of people actually start here thinking that it's going to be sweet, but really most modern styles of rosé wines tend to be more acidic and less sweet. So they're crisp and mouth-watering, but they're not a sweet drink despite their pink or salmon-like color. So I would start though with European styles from Provence, France, or from northern Spain, where they've got these nice $10 to $20 bottles of rosé that have great examples of tart, fruit-forward wines with little to no sweetness. That'll start getting into that mindset of and seeing whether acid and sour is something that you enjoy in wine, or whether you like something else, whether you like more full-bodied, rounder, fruit-forward wines, richer wines with more complex flavors, things like that. When we talk about red wines on the light end of the spectrum, you want to start poking around the south end of Burgundy with Gamay from Beaujolais, France. It's easy to find. It's a light red grape. It's one of the most approachable and what I would call food flexible red wines out there. It's a personal favorite of mine and one that I keep on hand for most occasions. So check out Beaujolais and the Gamay grape. You might, if you want to get really kind of into the funkiness, check out Pruno Nero from Italy. This sparkling red wine style is very light and it can be very unsweet or dry. but it's bubbly, light, and very effervescent. It's a really kind of fun thing to try, and it's a great gateway into a lot of different red wines. Now, don't mistake that kind of Pruno Nero. Don't mistake that for Lambrusco. That's a much sweeter alternative in the sparkling wine world and tends to be almost cloyingly sweet, or what I would call soda sweet. And what we're trying to do here is get out of that mindset of everything needs to be sweet and get into the more acidic, tart, and dry styles of wine. Okay. Finally, my recommendation is take a wine basics course, and take a course from someone who's not trying to sell you wine. Going to a winery, for instance, is not often the best way to learn about wine. Even though they know their product very well, their end goal is to sell you wine, not teach you about wine. So make sure that you get a good educator who's interested in your success in the wine world and finding out what you like and helping you expand that wine vocabulary and start you on your wine journey. So, how is your wine journey beginning? What was it? How long has it been since your journey began, or where did you decide in your drinking world that you really wanted to get interested in wine? Tell me about it down in the comments below, and like and subscribe to the channel. Share with a wine-loving friend, and if you really like what we're doing, check us out over on Patreon, where you can get exclusive content, in-depth classwork, and actually learn some of this stuff on your own as well and expand your wine world. Until the next time, I'm your WineShark. Cheers.